Viva Las Vegas. So the Raiders filling up the content machine here at Fox Sports Radio, the transaction wire. Get out your scorecards. Get out your scorecards right now. So a lot of moving parts here. Let's start with the disgruntled playmaker. If you have not heard, possibly not. We learned that wide receiver Jakobi Meyers, also a law firm in Southern California, Jacoby Meyers, not happy. He has requested a trade from Lost Wages, Nevada. He wants out. Upset. I guess he's upset with Slug. He's like, I can't be here anymore. Slug and Mark and David, all the guys there in Vegas, just can't deal with it. He says, because they could not agree to a contract extension. So he's raising a hullabaloo. And the team says, nah, we're good. We're good. We're going to keep you. We're not trading. So it's a classic NFL standoff. Classic. We have one of these every season, at least one every season. So let us discuss the question on this one. Will the Raiders cave in to Jacoby Meyers' trade request, or do they ride it out? Just ride it out. He's under contract. You don't have to trade him. So I've got Costco, Rusty Nail, and Shadow Boxing. We'll combine all these things together like Legos. And the Legos the babushka steps on. Because you put them on when the babushka tries to clean them up and she's walking around at night, she steps on them. Which is one of the worst pains a human being can have, stepping on a Lego. It's got to be in the 5 worst pains a human being can have. So number one. I said number one. That's right. The Raiders are essentially running the world's saddest flea market right now. They just are. Right? Open for business. You got Tom Brady, GM by proxy, but he doesn't want any credit or blame because he's embarrassed by what these moves. So the Raiders are open for business, and they're essentially telling the neighbors, listen, you can't have this lamp. This is too valuable. And then the neighbor's like, well, I mean, you're running a flea market, and the lamp is there, and I'm not selling the lamp. And you're like, buddy, it's a Target lamp. It's not Tiffany's. Okay? I mean, what are you doing? Now, Myers is not a bum. The guy's not a bum. Joan Rhode Island, this guy's a bum. The guy's not a bum. He's slightly above average. Jacoby Meyers is the Costco version of a wide receiver. Number one. He just is. Right? You know what you get. You're getting dependable. You're getting decent quality. Not flashy. You're certainly not bragging to your buddies. You're not bragging to your friends. Oh, yeah, I bought that Kirkland brand Jacoby Meyers. You're not excited about that. You're not. I mean, you look at the numbers, and you're like, all right, the numbers are fine. 50 yards a game, 50 and a half in his career. Last year, he was up to 68 and a half, which is not bad. Not bad. It's not terrible. It's not elite. It's not all-time great. And to answer the question, I expect him to be traded. My position is always the player who's unhappy is going to be traded. And here's why. This is the classic, we want volunteers, not hostages guy. It's an old line Mike Tomlin had back in the day. And if you're not happy, if the dude wants out, if the dude's going to raise a problem, fine. Don't hold the player hostage. It's not. There's only certain players you hold hostage. He's not one of those players, right? You ship him off somewhere else, and that's it. Now, where, you ask? Well, we can spin the Maller wheel of speculation on where Jacoby Meyers will end up. Good, quick finger push there by Lorraine. So I've got Patriots, Vikings, and Steelers as the most likely destinations for Jacoby Meyers. The Patriots, he already played there. Josh McDaniels is back as the offensive coordinator, so there's a connection to the Patriots. And he is considered to be a dependable player. The Patriots don't have a dependable wide receiver. They've got slop at wide receiver. Myers was fine when he played there. And we assume that if he went back, he would be fine. They have Stephon Diggs, who's coming off an injury, and then they've got a bunch of other Drek. They're literally putting Drek out there at wide receiver. And I don't think that's going to go well. Now, the Vikings, well, why the Vikings? They're loaded. They got they're loaded wide receiver. They got this guy, that. Well, Jordan Addison is suspended because he liked to do things in his car involving alcohol and whatnot. So he's suspended to start the year. And Meyers slots in as at least a temporary number 2 as a slot wide receiver there, as a babysitter. Number 2. Until Jordan Addison's suspension is over. Because remember, he's gonna miss the first 3 games, Addison, and then you've also got will he be ready to play in the 4th game? Is there going to be a setback? Do you miss time? You're more likely to get injured. The Steelers, I look at those wide receivers, and I know, they got DK Metcalf. Okay, that's good. The rest of those jamokes, not so much. And Mike Tomlin, this seems like a Mike Tomlin guy, Jakobi Meyers, right? And also throw like Niners in there if you want. The Niners, they've got wide receivers who think they're better than they are, and they've got guys that are hurt, so they've got a hodgepodge there. And here's the other thing, right? You look around, and you're like, all those teams, what's the price tag? Well, the price tag, if the Raiders were offered a 5th-round draft pick, that's about what he's worth. Now, if somebody gets all excited, I want this guy, I'll give you more than that. Okay, fine. But a 5th-round pick, it's like if you're the Steelers or the Vikings or the Patriots, you trade a 5th-round pick. A 5th is like giving away a Chili's gift card. You'd like it, but you're not going to miss it. It's like if I have it, it's great, but somebody else can go to Chili's and enjoy the gift card. I don't need it. It's that kind of thing. And if the Raiders somehow get a 4th-round pick, they should go out to Fremont Street right near the iHeart Studios there and dance and have a great time. Right? That's Ocean's 11 type heist stuff if they get that. But the bottom line, Jakobi Meyers is useful. He's above average slightly. He's reliable. He's just not elite. He's not elite, and he's not happy. He's not happy. And the stories are connected because page 2 here mentioned it's a Raider-heavy hour. We'll get back to the calls in a little bit, but the Raider-heavy hour here, while Jakobi Meyers is having a conniption fit and would like to be traded, he wants out. Says, I would like to go somewhere else. One-way ticket out of Sin City. Well, we had a reunion. The Raiders brought back a blast from the past. 10 years ago, the Raiders, first round of the draft, picked Amari Cooper. And Amari Cooper was really good at dropping passes with the old Oakland Raiders. Man, was he elite. He was an elite pass dropper with the Raiders. And he's back, baby. He's back. But now the Las Vegas Raiders, Cooper, 31. He played for the Brownies and the Bills last season, was one of the big pickups before the trade deadline by the Buffalo football team, was considered the top available veteran pass catcher on the street at this point. So Pete Carroll is selling, and the Raiders are selling, that this is a veteran presence, that he's been around the block. He just knows how to get the job done. Maybe there's a little leadership in there. The Raiders have a young wide receiver room, and he will be someone that can go in there and fill in one of the question marks on the Jeopardy board. And that's that. So, question to you. Does this addition of wide receiver Amari Cooper actually move the needle for the Raiders? So the way I look at this is not a needle move. There is no movement of the needle. It is a rusty nail is what it is, jammed into the side of a sinking ship. Okay, you understand? Listen, the Raider wide receiver room is a disaster with a capital D. What is Tom Brady smoking over there? Is he on the drinking the ayahuasca? What do we got going on over there? That is a FEMA zone, the Raider wide receiver room. Now you have somebody named Dante Thornton, who's unprocessed, and Trey Tucker, and they are projected to be starters for the Raiders. You also have Jacoby Meyers, who wants out ASAP, and those are the top 3 wide receivers at this point. They're hoping that Amari Cooper can come in there and stabilize things. Unfortunately, if you watch the NFL, or even if you're blind and listen to the NFL on radio last year, you know that Amari Cooper looked and sounded like a player that was running in molasses. At the end of last year, he was the big pickup by the Buffalo football team to put them over the top. How did that work out? Yeah. He showed Amari Cooper that he had the separation skills of a refrigerator magnet when he played for the Buffalo Bills there, and it looked like he was in a lake effect blizzard the entire time. He was a decoy. They didn't trade for him to be a decoy, but that's what Amari Cooper was with the Buffalo Bills. And so, you know what this is? This is the Raiders walking in to the emergency room and saying, "Oh, doctor, give me the news." And the doctor says, "Well, I'm sorry to tell you, you've got a broken femur." And the Raiders say, "Well, I just don't have time for a broken femur. Can you just put a Band-Aid on it, and we're good to go?" That's just the way to do it. It's a panic move. Like Pete Carroll is out here trying to recreate the Legion of Boom. I know the Legion of Boom was defense here, but it's like the ghost of Christmas past, the ghost of Raider past, and all that stuff. The Raiders are admitting, though. This is a confessional by the Raiders. The Raiders are admitting that the wide receiver room sucks rocks. They're admitting that. And so instead of building a new foundation and all that stuff, they're trying to duct tape the lava lamp to the wall, and they're calling it a chandelier. Well, it's a chandelier. No, it's not. It's a lava lamp that our friend Andrea, the insider, the astrology insider, she put up a lava lamp, and then it fell down, and then you picked it up, and you taped it to the wall. You said it's a chandelier, but it's a lava lamp. Bad job by you. But you look there. And the Raiders have Brock Bowers, who's going – for the Raiders to make the playoffs, Brock Bowers is going to catch, by my math, Maller math, 200 passes for the Raiders to find a way to make the playoffs. They are the definition of average. That's an average football team. That's a 6, 7, 8 win, 9 win team, somewhere in there. That's it. Faux contender at most. Faux contender for the Raiders. In a division that is stacked with the Chiefs, the Chargers, and supposedly the Broncos on the come. All right, final point. The Raiders also made another move. Oh, my God, it's all Raiders! The Raiders addressed the backup quarterback position. You might remember in a previous episode of the show, there was speculation that the Raiders were interested in Ryan Tannehill. Well, they woke up and realized he blows. So let's go out and get a younger quarterback who just sucks. And so that's what the Raiders did. Vegas acquired Kenny Pickett. Yes, you know who that is. Kenny Pickett from the Browns in exchange for a 5th-round pick. So question, is Kenny Pickett's 3rd trade now to the Raiders in 18 months a sign that he is a bust, or is he just a victim of bad situations? Just bad situations. So for the Kool-Aid drinkers, they'll say Kenny Pickett just wasn't given the proper runway to take off, that if you look at his career, he's started 25 games. He's 5 games above 500. Kenny Pickett's 15-10 as a starter. However, any kind of due diligence on the career of Kenny Pickett, any kind of objective analyzing what's going on here, the arrow is pointing to bust with a capital B. Bust with a capital B. He was the quarterback of the future. The Steelers, with Mike Tomlin, drafted this guy in the 1st round. And Mike Tomlin had him for a couple of seasons, and it's like, this guy's not that good. They had the whole backstory, right? Guy went to college at Pitt, goes over to the Steelers, the whole thing. And a couple of seasons in, after being picked in the 1st round, Pittsburgh brought in Russell Wilson to compete with Kenny Pickett. And what did Kenny Pickett do when they brought Russell Wilson in to compete? He had the ultimate hissy fit. I'm not doing it. I am Kenny Pickett. Screw you. I want out. He gave up. He ran from the grind. He ran the other direction from the grind. And that's the thing you can't do. And he did it. The guy's a quitter. Kenny Pickett's a quitter. Rather than compete, you're telling me you can't beat out a washed up Russell Wilson. You can't beat out Russell Wilson if you're Kenny Pickett? Come on. And rather than try, he says, I want out. I want to trade. So Pittsburgh traded him to Philadelphia. And he had a little stopover there. Was never going to play. That was quarterback rehab in Philadelphia. And then I think he was traded for like a third-round pick or something like that. So I think they got something of value for Kenny Pickett, they being the Philadelphia football team. But that quitting on the Steelers is something that has shadow-boxed Kenny Pickett. And now he went to Cleveland. That's even more emasculating than what happened in Pittsburgh. Like, he just ran away from the Steelers, says, I don't want to compete with Mr. Unlimited. Mr. Unlimited. He goes to Cleveland, and he would not beat out a 40-year-old Joe Flacco and a couple of neophyte rookie quarterbacks, including a fifth-round flyer. That Pickett, in a supposed open competition, a meritocracy, where Joe Flacco ended up winning, he lost out, and he was so bad that they don't even think he's a good backup in Cleveland. Like, we got to trade him, get rid of him. He can't even be the backup. That's a quarterback-devoid franchise. It is a Bermuda Triangle where quarterbacks go to die, and they're looking for anyone that's got a pulse, and they got rid of Kenny Pickett. They got rid of him. So will Kenny Pickett ever get a shot to start in Las Vegas? Or is he destined to be a career backup? Well, the Raiders, Aiden O'Connell is hurt. He's going to come back at some point. So there's no guarantee that Pickett even makes the roster the whole year with the Raiders. And Geno Smith is besties with Pete Carroll. And Pete Carroll picked Geno Smith. Tom Brady wanted a good quarterback. The Raiders couldn't get a good quarterback. They wanted Matthew Stafford. They tried to get some other players. And all the good players ran away from the Raiders. So the Raiders then were forced to get some slop. And Pete Carroll says, that's the slop I like. That's the crap out of Seattle. I want that. Geno Smith, sure, we'll get you Geno Smith. Why not? So Geno goes to the Raiders. He's a fraud as a number one quarterback. We all know that. But if he stays healthy, then he's going to play the entire year. And Kenny Pickett will get hemorrhoids sitting on the bench. And despite that glittering record, which we mentioned, 5 games over 500 as a backup, Kenny Pickett, because he played on good defensive teams in Pittsburgh, and they didn't really play much at all in Philadelphia. But in his career, 30 games, 25 starts, Kenny Pickett has the grand total of 15 touchdowns and 14 interceptions. Is that good? Because if that's good, I wish I had you as a teacher.